GM. That's Progress on Ending Female Genital Mutilation, Youth Roles and Engagement, or Youth Role and Engagement. That's the focal point of conversation today, and that's what we'll be discussing. Female genital mutilation is known as the practice of cutting or mutilating parts of the female genitalia, also known as female genital mutilation. It's a common practice, and a lot of people actually engage in them, and most of the time for cultural reasons. This is despite the fact that research has proved that there is no benefit to the girl child whatsoever as a result of female genital mutilation. To talk to us on the Progress on Ending FGM, Youth Roles and Engagement at Center for Sustainable Community Development. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, my sister and listeners at home. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk FGM today. To join the conversation, you can call in to 07000 917 917. 7,917,917. You can also send in a text and a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. All right, we'll begin with a very simple question today, just a baseline background type question. Would you say that youths are stakeholders in ending female genital mutilation, Michael?
Yes, we have been discussing this in the past and it's still progress. Youths are part of stakeholders because youths, like we normally have it in our day, that they are leaders of tomorrow. And we have developmental stages. We have children, we have different stages, and we have youth that are matured and beyond, even lesser than 18, are already matured and already know what is right and what is wrong. And when we're not talking about youth generally, engagement in ending female genital mutilation, I think they should catch them young because they're going to be parents tomorrow. And sometimes some of them too, they normally jump the gun and even become fathers at 18, 17, as we have it now. So they have to really fold their hands and they watch me.
I like how you said jump the gun because that's not the natural order of things. Yeah. You're supposed to go into an adult first, be able to fend for yourself before you start jumping that particular gun.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that. But now that you said that a lot of youth, younger people, stakeholders in ending female genital mutilation, will you say that they know of this responsibility that they carry? Would you say that they are aware of everything that female genital mutilation is and even the negative consequences of it?
Well, now they are beginning to get that strong awareness. When, in the past, there used to be very, very simple thing that is a cultural thing, is a traditional thing, is a right a lady must really follow, a child must follow, that must be perpetrated. But at that time, even when we were very young, we never saw anything bad in it. But when things are not progressing, the United Nations, the world is now saying, no, it's a violation of women's rights, violation of guest rights. And that is why youths also must be brought into the picture. And that's why we engage them at many levels now, so that they can really see the hazard part of it, and also the consequences against their sisters.
Yes.
And their elder sisters and their younger sisters and their mothers to be as well.
Very true. Very true. I had to ask a question about awareness because you cannot advocate for something you don't know enough about.
Yes.
You cannot claim to be part of a belief system that you don't understand how they got to that point in the first place. So the awareness question was important because if you need to know what it is that you're fighting for and you're fighting against,
yes,
so that when you are now getting into the engagement advocacy part of it, as young people, you would be very well, how do they put this now, very well informed on what it is that you need to do.
Yeah, There are so many roles when we're talking about the engagement. There are so many roles to play.
Okay, so talk to me about some of those roles that youth can play in creating. Let's start with awareness now.
Yeah.
Because I asked, are they aware? You said yes, and you said there are more processes in place.
Yes.
So talk to me about that, to create that awareness.
The awareness is there now and very high, because a lot of them are they handle social media. They see a lot of things happening around the world. They read the news and they listen to what is happening. Many of them are also listening to Let's Talk FGM on your station. And because I know some used to come in, like the other time I was there, I received some calls. I was wondering how they got to know my number.
Good question.
Yeah, I was wondering how they got to know my number. I wouldn't know, maybe they must have contacted someone.
Most likely.
And it's also ringing bell when we're talking about FGM as well.
Exactly.
So when we're now talking about youth engagement, even getting that awareness, now each time let me just begin from secondary school.
Okay.
Each time we go to secondary schools, we gather. We don't even just say only get child. No, we bring them together. People like just from GSS 3, a lot of them don't know what's right and what is wrong, because some they have passed through it, and they must have been facing those kind of torture, and it'd be better to really explain the trauma they must have passed through to their mates. Even some may not even want to tell us, but they will just put in the note. We say, please put your thoughts, write them out and pass to us, so nobody knows what somebody is passing. Don't put your name. We don't want to know your name. Just say, I am a female, I am age this. It was done to me at this and so stage, and this is what I passed through. And we're not going to disclose to anybody, but don't put your name and don't put your class. You can guess some of those voices they will trace, and even with handwriting, so we don't allow it to get to them. So we are engaging them. We just know that we sensitize them and show them some of these bad videos, because if they don't watch, they may not know the implications, especially boys. They may not really know. Even some of those girls, they say they will close their eyes, they hold their hands, 4 men went, there are 4 men. So, and that trauma lives with a lot of them till they get older. So, till they get old anyway. Now, even those boys, by the time we just begin to show some pictorial things that they just see, a lot of them are now saying, Mommy, when you get back home, Mommy, you must not do this for my sister. If you do it, I will go and report it to the police, because we let them see the implications. So they are already getting aware from that young age, so that by the time they are leaving, so they really know, and they now sensitize others. Sometimes we put them to go, each time we go there again, when we visit them, and even when we just throw some questions, say, what did you discuss today? Well, did you notice your sister working somehow? They will not say, no, I don't notice that. There was one who called my office and now giving me, say, I think I'm suspecting my mom and dad, because my sister cannot walk well again. Okay. But when we penetrated, we now saw that it was boiled. She had which was not what you thought it was. We're happy that they are getting this message rightly, and they are now even sensitizing some others too. So even when we put up dramas, they are going to be the ones to act the dramas. They act and we let them see a lot of things, and somebody will act like a doctor, someone like act in these the local circumcisers, NOLAs that we call them. And we have a lot of even health workers too. We have a lot of perpetrators that are really doing it. So a lot of them have different roles and each they play. They even call themselves by those names. Even sending a lot of messages to what we are trying to stop. And we are so happy about that. Even debates. Yes, we organize debates. Which is a very, very key thing. And you like them, especially girls, they would like to speak very well and prove their worth that no, you must not hurt me, not hurt, which is very good. And that's to show that the awareness is really getting high, and they know the legal implication as well. That if somebody does that and you are being reported, the person is gone. Then we also engage them again as foot soldiers and mouth soldiers. What do I mean by foot soldiers? Surveillance. So yeah, auntie so and so was pregnant too. So let's see when she's going to give birth. They go for the naming and all those things, and they will still be monitoring. They say, well, I've just come to greet you, and some of them just want to see the girl child being battered before they leave, so that if they can see any bandage or anything around, they communicate.
That's true.
So, and that goes again in even some village, even some other students that are in local areas. You see them doing what we are talking about. So, but we are planning, building their capacity so that they can really be strong in this field, because they are very helpful. And again, you see some of them, I mean, when you just go to a gathering, like instead of you telling tales when you are going to the river, just say, hey, have you ever seen anybody being mutilated recently? You will trust girls. No, I know. Actually, there was a time. Let me just not mention any name. To grandma.
But then I know what you want to say.
to grandma. And this is so when they came back, so this is, you will trust them. They will really expose. No, innocently, they will say it. So we're trying to build their consciences to know towards that, so that they can really to be part of our own information gathering. It will help us. Then another is that of reporting. That when you see something that is being done, like that of boy now, that the lady never knew, and the boy and the girls never knew. Now, say something that's happened like that, and you know the number to call, and you know somebody to reach, even in your community. And there was somebody who went to meet an health worker and told the health worker, this happened. They are very useful. And we even ask them to use their mobile phones to take photographs. If you see any of those things, try and hide. Take photograph and bring to us. We won't show to anybody. I will not mention, but we'll just make sure that we follow up the interaction and our own investigation. And again, if that engagement continues again as we are planning to, so that we can even get a kind of task force among them. Since you know they are playing serious role about it, yes, that's part of it now, and so many things.
Very interesting. Very interesting. There's a lot to say, particularly when it comes to how much youth can do when it comes to eliminating female genital mutilation.
Yes.
There's a lot to say. There's a lot to sit down. There's a lot to analyze. There's a lot to break down. There's a lot to react to.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you're finding yourself, come on, in between making a decision, in between understanding what's happening, and you're trying to. A friend actually told me yesterday that she thought about taking her life and everything, and then before you know it, this is how these things spill over from one problem to another.
Yes.
And it becomes worse as time goes on.
So we need to cut it seriously.
We do. So let me ask you this. Gender inequality is also another thing that we talk about and can link to female genital mutilation. Would you say that a youth-led movement on gender inequality has anything to do with the practice itself, the elimination of the practice?
Well, we already know that from the beginning it was not like that. You know, when we're talking about the patriarchy stuff, all those ones, is different. That we already know what is written from the beginning, that men has to be circumcised, not women. But getting to some tradition and to some quarters, now say, no, we are now practicing this. At that time, we now see that as a violation of rights of those girls. And it's now becoming, some of them will now be saying, if you don't cut them, it will be as if you are not allowing them to exercise their rights with their fellow boys. No, it is not. but it is not the role and it is not necessary. Then some other people were practicing it before, but when they now know the implications and know that it is not, even if you do it now, you are violating the right of that girl. That is why they are curbing it. And when you are not talking about inequality or whatever, it doesn't come to this, that you have to cut them so that they can now equal boys. No, it is not supposed to be, and it was not like that from the beginning of the creation. Like the Bible said, even in Quran, it was not stated that you have to cut. And that is why we have to really handle all these things jealously. And when we're talking about modernization too, modernization or civilization does not support it. Inequality is when you are talking about inequality, you don't bring into when you now say you want whatever happens to boys must happen to girls. No, that means you are violating the right of those girls. And if anybody does that, now
that's a crime.
It's a crime. It's a crime, and the person will be locked up. We have it in the rap law and even the Constitution of Nigeria as well. So it's spelled out. So that's different from inequality or even saying you are talking about the rights or the other side. It to be wrong, because when you are doing that, it is against the patriarchal structure that has been there.
So the reason I ask this is because the proponents of gender equality are also big on female genital mutilation, ending female genital mutilation, because they view it as this is not part of what being equal means. So that's why I ask if a youth-led movement on gender inequality can also cover female genital mutilation. So in line with that conversation, can it be something that is raised, like the subject of mutilation?
Yeah, we also like building this youth led program in team now. It's one of those things that can cover it. And if you are talking about, we already mentioned that, talking about fighting for their rights.
For their rights, yes.
So they must not cut them. Anybody who does that, they make sure that, and that's why they really need to engage them with all these things that we have mentioned. So we really need to engage them seriously. You don't say, I know they are so young, they're still young, you cannot just leave them. They even understand many more than their parents. They read and they saw the web, and they know a lot of things that they are reading, and they can communicate. And even if we have anybody being sentenced now, yes, that would be very great. Right. It will be a real success, and we are still tracking to even get somebody just to be a scapegoat.
So that people can actually know that when we say it's a crime, it's a crime, it's a crime. We're not just saying it.
We are tracking. So somebody say, it's family issue. And who is the person? Where is the person? You won't find the person when you go to the village. Even if you get an information from a net center that somebody is like, maybe they did something, but you know when you are not there, you cannot see.
Yes.
You cannot really arrest anybody or say you want to seriously, except you want to spoil the operations in the hospital.
Yes, of course. That would be right.
So we have to be very, very careful, and that's why we are really sending out a lot of people just as informants. So everybody say, grandma, we just tell the son-in-law and the son, please bring your baby, let me just come and play with me and this and that. And
then you do your findings.
You do your now, and that's why even some men now, they will just say, okay, instead of us coming there or my wife coming there with the baby, come and stay with us, come and be a mugo. After Omugo, when you want to come and visit again, you can come and visit. But for her to leave and come back to your place, she's very busy here.
I can understand that.
Yes.
I can understand that.
Because it's a future thing, future place, she's very busy here.
I can understand that.
Yes.
I can understand that.
Because it's a future thing, future. I mean, when you interview somebody, the other time says there's no danger in it anyway, but there are cases that we have seen that some lost blood, some things happen, and some other things. You know, the person is really judging herself.
At that point,
when you say something is not it's not dangerous, but you are still saying that. But some other cases happened. But do it next. You know what that means.
Alright. So we're definitely still talking more about this progress on ending female genital mutilation, youth roles and engagement. This particular episode today is a focus on the roles that youths play when it comes to ending female genital mutilation and making sure that female genital mutilation is a thing of the past. This is still Let's Talk FGM on Women Radio 91.7.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
I don't know if I nobody. Keep
it locked? I should have brought you flowers. You are. We are WFM 91.7. 91.7.
Mama Dora, bring Dora, come on. That don't come circumcise.
You want circumcise your pikin? Celebration, everybody don't know say circumcision no good at all. Now you want destroy your pikin, Dora. You know say person wey pay somebody to do circumcision, and person wey do the circumcision, now all of them go prison wey fit reach like 4 years, and dem fit still even pay 200,000. If you give person ordinary advice, say make dem do circumcision, you go fit go prison for like 2 years and still pay like 100,000 fine money. E sure tell my family I call this law enforcement agents to go arrest you. Wetin dey do no good?
You circumcise Dora again, eh? Father, that carry your yama knife come on my house. Any self will report you.
Circumcision no good at all. As e dey cause plenty health palava for girls' body. My people, if you hear or see person wey wan circumcise any girl, sharply go to law enforcement person near you, or make you call 0812 467 0069. Female circumcision no good. Make we join hands stop am.
Na this health initiative to stop cause project wey dey funded by United Nations Trust Fund to end violence against women. Bring una this message.
Come on, Lagos. We're turning it all the way up.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Women Talk on WFM 91.7.
24 minutes past 2 on Women Radio 91.7, and this is still Let's Talk FGM on Women Radio 91.7. Today we're still talking about progress on ending FGM, youth roles and engagement. Progress on ending FGM, youth role and engagement. Let's Talk FGM is an initiative of Haiti Health Initiative in partnership with Women Radio 91.7 and funded by the United Nations Trust Fund to end violence against women. So we're still focusing on this. My name is Sumto Titayo Ajama, and of course I have here with me Michael Ebofi, Executive Director, Moralex Center for Sustainable Community Development. Feel free to call in. The number to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. You can also send in a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. All right, I'm coming back to you now, Michael. Let's talk about this point of the government. So sometimes people always say there are a lot of efforts that youths are putting into place, and this is not just concerning female genital mutilation, concerning a lot of other different initiatives that youths are putting together. But you're concerned that does the government see what they're doing? Does the government support what they're doing? So how can youths now get the buy-in of the government and their support to progress their efforts in advocating against female genital mutilation?
Yes, thank you very much. Like, if I have to be very truthful with you, AC8 initiative has been doing a lot of things about that. They have been training youths, different groups, all that are key stakeholders in ending FGM. Then, if there are some existing groups that I don't really know, that they are not really aware of,
Okay.
as they are hearing on this program, they should just make sure they contact ACS initiative to build their capacities in handling this project. Because a lot of them, they have the passion to say, no, we want to end it, and want to spread this, and even end violence against women and against the girl child and this and that. A lot of them have good intention and are passionate about it. But how to really go about it so that government can buy into it, so that some other donors as well can come in, some NGOs can even support, so that it will fly and they ensure that the interventions are really successful.
Yes.
So I wish to advise that they communicate the AC Health Initiative, because they have been doing that in Osun, Oyo, Ekiti, and some other places too. So for Lagos and its environs, I wish the youths can also utilize this opportunity and get in touch with them. So they can just Google AC and AC, that is HACY, and they'll get whatever results. And again, you just get to speak with some people there and tell them they are need to invite them to their office, and they speak it. And they can even get to their school, wherever they are, even clubs. Have their clubs, the youth clubs, in ending, not only on female genital mutilation, on just say ending violence against girls,
against women and girls.
women and girls. Yes, when they have that club, they invite EC and even ask them to come and even introduce it to their school. So a lot of schools, private schools and even public schools, will be interested in that because they are partnering with the government. But when that kind of initiative is coming up, they're very glad to handle that as well. I know that. So as the people are hearing now, they can just encourage their children, please just write it down, AC Health Initiative, and make sure you just type it, Google it, you get it. Go to their office. And they are partnering with you. Yes, they are partnering with you as well. So they are partnering with you here, so they can send a text message to you or correct them. So it will be very, very helpful. And even if they have any accommodation for them to accommodate, maybe hosting some of them.
Yes, because that could be needed.
Even bringing some of them to your radio station here. They come here and even give their own views about it. So others will know that some things are ongoing.
So the reason I'm asking about government involvement or government support now in implementation when it comes to how far they can change things, because government does the changing, for lack of a better phrase, on a large scale. Policy, when it's implemented, you know that okay, going forward, this will be the new normal. So that's why I had to ask that particular question.
Yeah.
But still in line with youth doing the part to end female genital mutilation, let's talk about this movement of female genital mutilation. It's been in existence for a while, and youth, according to you, are a very active part in this engagement.
Yes.
So aside from what they're currently doing, what else do you think they can do that can progress this movement, that can take this movement from where it is now to the next level?
Yeah, like I think I mentioned when I was talking, I think I will begin from that, about forming a club in the schools. Like, we have human rights club in schools, in secondary schools especially.
No, I'm not. You did mention
Yes.
that.
So, I mean, it will really fly if that happens, if they can just put themselves together. Like even in debates as well. Even if they can even organize a debate and bring in and send in invitations to schools. And even some organizations, so even your station, you can do it as well, and invite them for debate. And you know, like I mentioned, that they do debate. Then government will be able to buy into some of these things, because even when you're coming out with a communique, when you have a gathering and so having an activity, you do a communique and press. When you blow it from the station, government will also be anointed, and you want them to really play along with. So they really know that this is happening, and it is part of their policy. They are making this policy now that they are even working on budgets now. They are working for 2023 now.
Yes,
that's the state government. So whatever budget is being budgeted for, whatever they must have been planning to budget for health and some others. So they will know, and even on how to even buy into this VAP law on the domestication, so that they can really talk more about the legal implication. So by the time that is just there, and they now see how people will have the documents also. If some of these youths, some of those secondary school students have those documents, the VAP documents, especially the one that concerns the issue of violence against girls, child, and women, and which covers against girl, child, and women, and which covers which thing that we're talking about,
exactly,
and rape and all those things. And if they have the documents available to them, I'm telling you, some of them you see will be flying on the social media.
Talking about social media, you will agree with me that the digital era is a big space. The digital space, is a big space, and there have been talks about initiating or incorporating, that's not the word, incorporating more youths into promoting, advocating against female genital mutilation on the digital space.
Yes.
So where do you think youth have come? How far do you think they've come when it comes to advocating against FGM on the digital space? And then how far do you think they can go? What more do you think they can do? I'm specifically asking about digital space because that's the future, believe it or not.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, it's already, that's the biggest thing right now. So if you're a young person, you're not on social media, whether you're in the rural or urban area, it's like you're missing out on something.
Yes.
And that's the easiest way to reach these younger people to join the movement. So how do you think they've come thus far, and where do you think they can go using the digital space?
Yes, thank you very much. Like, if you want to look at Twitter, for example,
okay.
I will still be using AC for my ACL for my discussion now. They have Twitter. If somebody should get their Twitter handle, just get the address and just pop in there. There are a lot of information on ending female genital mutilation. So by the time we identify some of those students or some of those particular group, is just throwing things instead of all this TikTok. If it can even be put on TikTok, and don't let me lie to you, if somebody has been apprehended today now, I wouldn't mind even putting it on TikTok so that they will see. Maybe you can cover the person's face or you understand, until the person that the litigation is on. If TikTok picks that up, it is going to, but by the time the person is being arrested and the litigation is on, if TikTok picks that up, that will be referring to, yes, it is true that Nigerian constitution is really being
against women.
It's been implemented, and we know that where it's being instructed again that you don't violate somebody's human rights, the freedom and whatever, and even you don't inflict injury on someone. So by the time we have that, even those students that are having their phones, instead of them just be browsing and be watching some of these movies and films, you will see them sharing this information. So if you even see anybody, they will meet somebody, they can even, because I trust those students we have now. They are so inquisitive and even so wide in knowledge. Now they can just go to a woman, this market woman, and say, Mama, please can you tell us how you felt the pain when you did it when you were young, and at what age? You know that it will go viral, and they will not see that students are really taking that space. And by the time they are taking that space, they are getting older. By the time they're going to get married, they know it's going to be a no-no.
Definitely.
It's not even going to be sad. By the time they are taking that space, they are getting older. By the time they're going to get married, they know it's going to be a no-no.
Definitely.
It's not even going to be sad. That is only meant for those in the urban area. No. We have those other people in the local areas too, in local communities. You see the way they handle mobile phones, and the way they tell you, I don't have data. Even if somebody have another, just 100 naira, you will go and purchase data just to see how there's an information. They say, yes. And before you know it, they show it to their grandma. The grandma saying, hey, is this what is happening? Is this one? So you can imagine that. So we're already occupying the hearts of those youth towards changing the motives of the older people on FGM, and it will really curb it seriously. And the children, the youth, without even be using that kind of space to spread the information, not only watching just small jokes on TikTok or some other things. You see that some other things will just change.
That's actually a very important point, particularly the creative aspect of it, which you've mentioned, that they can go to talk to market women, they can come up with all these different ideas that they can put out there, because content is what reigns in the digital space. So if you don't have enough content, people are just saying, what are they saying? But of course, when you have content and they know it's relatable, and FGM is very relatable because a lot of women and girls have actually gone through this. So I actually very much appreciate that particular point. Because we are in that digital space and there's no going back from that. So that's definitely a way to go. Now, bringing it down to rural communities, which you mentioned that the digital space covers both rural and urban communities. Yes. So how can youth play a role a bigger role, let me put it that way, because I'm pretty sure that to a large extent, youths are actively engaged in advocacy in the rural communities. How can they play a bigger role, and what kind of support can the community give them in a way that it can promote this advocacy against female genital mutilation?
Yes, thank you very much. Like, look at if because I work in the rural area as well. I'm a grassroots person. We have, even like now, when primary school students, when primary six, when they are getting out of the primary school, they normally have this what you call entertainment and a lot of things like that.
Okay.
You will know, even the community we are go when they say, our students are passing out. A lot of things they do. And your community, many of them will stop, they will not go to farm on that very day. They will not go to farm because of that, because they want to watch their children perform, to entertain them, because they know some other people will be coming from the urban community to come and join them, their teachers, all of them. They are having good things and they have good time. They contribute and they make a lot of things. With this we are talking about now, if we can even use that as an entry point as well, and it's good to really go far. We just go with projector, like AC. If you just go with AC, please tell your people at this and so please, we need a projector. We want to change the kind of celebration.
Yes.
So just say head talk. Just in the kind of head talk for the children, for the students, they will be the one to facilitate. You leave them to facilitate and tell their parents what they have been doing wrongly. So by the time they are now seeing those going pictures too on the screen, a lot of them, many of them will be scared. Even the perpetrators, many of them that are still doing it or having mind to do it when their wives give birth to a girl child, they will be scared because they know that they will be monitored and some other things are there to hand them. You see, we can really engage these students as well at the local level to do what I've just mentioned.
Yes.
Just only not just focusing on only just go and dance and play and this and that. That's not enough. Small drama and just bring projector and project those things. They will be the one to facilitate and talk. They speak in normal dialogue that people can understand better. These children, their parents will be surprised. We taught all this. When they get home, they'll be saying, so you already know all this. So these people are teaching you. I will know more than that. I'm telling you, it will really go far. So that by the time we begin to change, you already mentioned something content, that they have a content in what they want to do. It's not they have the kind of drama. Even some of the dramas they are seeing, they normally showcase when we are engaging them, and when we go to their schools, we record. By the time we just record and just play, they will say, some of them will be so happy that my child, look at that's my girl, they'll be very happy. But you get the message as well. And we always listen to when we tell people stories, they don't forget. But when they watch film, anything like drama or whatever, it sticks there
in their head. Yes.
So even the laws, when you're talking about law, by the time they now hear the imprisonment, that's what is going to scare them. So by the time somebody is being handcuffed, that means that person is not wanted in the community again. So nobody will want to be involved in that. So we can really build our children and our students the local and the urban communities to do so many things and have content like you mentioned.
Absolutely. Because last like Nigerians say, that content is very important. It's extremely important. 20 minutes to 2 to 3, 30 minutes to 3 on Women Radio at 1.7. This is still Let's Talk FGM, and today we are discussing progress to ending FGM, youth roles and engagement. You can call in and ask questions to my guest today as regards what female genital mutilation is and what youth can do better to be a part of the movement, against female genital mutilation. The number to call is 07000 917 917, 07000 917 917. Also, You can always send a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. That's non-governmental organizations that have philanthropy and initiatives like this embedded in what they do a lot of partnerships.
Yes.
Would you say in this case that there are enough young people in these organizations that can be a part of these partnerships that these organizations are entering into with either local or international agencies? And I ask this because, as you said, youth are the leaders of tomorrow.
Yes.
It's full of fun to say they are, as a matter of fact, the leaders of now, the leaders of today. So, are there enough youths that can move this movement to the next level in these organizations? And if there are they willing to continue the movement in a way to partner with international and local agencies?
Yes, thank you very much. I would say there are many, really, because now you know what youths just want. They want where it is happening, where things are happening. It's not just that they will just get there and go and be sitting down for long talks and saying this and that. Mm-hmm. But there must be a kind of program, and that program it must really be tailored to really enhancing their capacities. And from there, you now even identify those who are really passionate about that intervention. And by the time you now pick, you now see, I mean, it will be evident, you will see them. It will be obvious that you see those that are really passionate about it. Yeah, by the time you are not picking them, you begin to groom them. You begin to groom them. Like AC now have a lot of things to a lot of projects to really cover now with their level of operation now and with what they have been doing in this project in this process. So what they need to do again is to continue on the youth project now that we are talking about. You can just, a lot of youths, they have youth carnival on the streets, they have a lot of things, and they just go there and say, want to just join you, want to partner with you. They just go to IAK.
Michael, please hold that thought. Okay. Please call back if you can. The number is 07000 917 917. Kindly call back if you can. 07000 917 917. Also send a text or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. All right, please go ahead.
Yes, like I said, is that a call?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Now, they say they are hearing and they know what you're talking about. So just to make sure that we spread this information and to end the practice. So by the time you just get to, a lot of youth carnivals now that happens, they just say they want to do youth carnival, they want to do this. Ask them, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. They put a film show, but the one they are really interested in is whining and dying. So that they come and dance, but that's so. But we have an initiative.
Yeah,
come and dance, organize you people, look for a hall, and just put it there. Then you just watch this, we educate you.
Okay.
Then we can continue this on a yearly basis. So when we want to do this, you can do this. So you are already recruiting soldiers. Like I said, we operate. You are already recruiting soldiers, both foot and mouth soldiers. Mm-hmm. So they're going to help in curbing this. So, for those who don't really know that how to collaborate or how to seek for assistance of an NGO that is into whatever, I mean, by the time you get to your station and you get in church, they will know their plight will be addressed.
And they will know what to do.
They will know what to do, yes, so that they will not do it wrongly. Mm-hmm. It will be better for them to be well guided. So they can do that. They have a lot of things. There are so many things to benefit from your station and the AC, since they are collaborating as well in
That's true. That's true.
So
That's true. So another point of this is protests. I'm sure you must have heard about the fact that the ASU strike is still ongoing, and there's a lot of people talking about protesting. Even the Nigerian Association of National Association of Nigerian also went on protest, and it feels like there's protests back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Do you think now that particularly because a lot of these protests are youth-led, and then there are also youths are the major part of the people who make up these protests. Do you think this would be one way to speak up against female genital mutilation, particularly for the government to really pay attention?
When we're talking about protests, there can be. I mean, when I was in school, when I was in university, I could remember that you just be hearing a lot of people just be rushing towards STB. So what is happening? We are going out. We will not take it from anybody. And by the time you get to the place, you ask what is happening. I don't know.
So it feels like not enough people know what they're entering or what they're doing.
And by the time you get to the place, you ask what is happening. I don't know.
So it feels like not enough people know what they're entering or what they're joining in.
Because some as well, we have wrong information. There was a time, I think I was in secondary school then, there was a time when the university in my place at that time, I don't want to mention, something happened, and they would say, we don't agree. They came to our school and said their principal should release us, otherwise they will set our school ablaze. So one of the teachers now spoke with one of the leader of the group. Just say, come, what is happening? She now said, come and meet our leader. When the woman met the leader, she said, we are ready to join you, but by the time we know what is really happening, do you know that they have to come them there and ask, okay, the principal now said to drive to the school, to that campus, get what is really happening. What was really happening at that time? Do you know that it was just a rival issue, boyfriend and girlfriend? And that now led to another thing, and which could lead to any other thing.
Absolutely.
So when we're talking about protest, we must understand what really caused the protest. What do you want to achieve by that?
Okay.
Because protest does not really end well sometimes. It may be hijacked.
That's true.
So by the time you now engage in dialogue, and even if the government doesn't want to listen, there are ways you can listen. By the time a lot of that we cannot be discussing on the radio. So NGOs and civil society organizations know better way of handling issues with the government. So it's because many people don't really bring in NGOs and some others. By the time you discuss that, say, I bet that your own style is a cake. And you leave them now, so go ahead now.
To learn the one that's current.
Yeah, no, you have the current thing you think is really but no, it will not. But there are ways of engaging people. You cannot force. You can force a horse to the river.
No, you
So you cannot force the horse to drink. Yes, that's all those things.
That's a very important reference.
Yes.
And the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of youths, when they get interested in something, there's that energy that we want to see it happen. I want to see it happen now. And then that might be a mistake at the end of the day because you know what young people are doing nowadays.
Yes.
So I needed to know if in line with violence against women and girls, in line with female genital mutilation, if that could play any kind of forward-moving role with the government, which you've answered at this point.
Yes.
So finally, as we wrap up now, do you believe in this case that youths are the next generation of advocacy against female genital mutilation? And do you think they will do a good job in taking the message further to the coming generation?
I'm so glad that youths already started. We are not even saying they are next generation leaders. They are already leaders now. Since they can school their parents. You know, when they acted a drama in the school, when they acted a drama, they will take the message home. And they will not be telling them, like I mentioned again about they will take the message home. And they will not be telling them, like I mentioned again about going to their gathering with a projector, and you show a lot of things, and the negative impact of these parties.
Yes.
They are schooling them already, and they are telling them we are already leading you. You are our parents, but we know better than you do. and we know what the implication is there for you to even practice such again. So they are not future leaders in that. They are leaders now, and they are teaching that people, by the time they handle the phone, go to the Twitter handle of AC, and they get a lot of information about that. Say, grandma, come and see. You say, are you sure? Yes, it's happening. And they begin to show them just gory pictures that they will never even complete. I know, and a lot of them cannot even watch it. They cannot watch those photographs. Just only photographs, or not even videos.
Videos, yes.
Only photographs they will not watch, because most of these things are being done in the dark. Some of the women, some of the mothers of those victims, they don't go into the room because they don't want to stand the crying and the lot of things. So even when they are doing the cleaning, too later, a lot of them, they feel they shiver, somehow. So they can't stand it. But when they begin to learn from their children, or their grandchildren, say, Mama, don't try that again. Don't do that to my sister or whatever. They know that I'm going to report to you. That sends a serious signal.
Definitely. It definitely sends a serious signal. And I believe, as you rightly said, from the very beginning, that youths are already playing that part.
Yes.
They're already playing that part, and you're confident that going forward, it will only get better when it comes to engagement and advocacy against female genital mutilation by these youths.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you for spending time with us today, talking about the progress on ending FGM, youth roles, and engagement.
Thank you very much.
And this is why I call it a wrap on Let's Talk FGM today. It is important to understand that we can together end female genital mutilation. You can't do it alone, I can do it alone. We need to work together to stop female genital mutilation. If you want to report more cases or any cases of female genital mutilation, please don't hesitate to call this number 0812 467 0069 0812 467 0069. You can also get more information on stopcart.hazy.org. stopcart.hazy.org. Special thanks again to my guest, Michael Ebofe, the Executive Director, Morelet Center for Sustainable Community Development, and to you for tuning in to Let's Talk FGM today. Next week at 2 p.m. is Let's Talk FGM once again, as we discuss everything concerning female genital mutilation and condemn the practice. Let's Talk FGM is an initiative of Hazy Health Initiative in partnership with Women Radio 91.7 and funded by the United Nations Trust Fund to End Violence Against Women. Good afternoon. My name is Sunto Titilayo Ajama. Good afternoon.
Àṣàkẹ́ Yéṣu kú ilé ọpẹ́ ṣe ní ìyá àgbà oníkì ló fẹ́ dábẹ́ fún wọn.
Mi ò fẹ́ dábẹ́ fún wọn mi. Àwọn àdúgbò ẹgbà wọn wọ́n fẹ́ dábẹ́ fún ọmọ ẹgbà wọn o. Àwọn ọmọ fọyín ló fẹ́ dábẹ́ fáṣàkẹ́. Ìyá àgbà oníkì gan ni wọ́n sì pè pé kó wá dábẹ́ fún.
Ṣé ìjọba ti ní ọdún léwu ni? Ewu sí láti máa dábẹ́ fún obìnrin.
Ṣé bí nǹkan tí wọ́n fi yín bọ̀ wọ́n lọ sí ẹ̀wọ̀n ọdún lẹ́yìn nígbà ọ̀nà? Ẹ̀wọ̀n ìmọ̀ràn jáwọ́ nínú gbogbo tí wọ́n fẹ́ tẹ̀sẹ̀ àwọn yìí. Ìgbọ́lọ́pàá sí.
Tí ẹ ti fẹ́ kọ́mọ yín kú. Àwọn ọmọ pé ohun tó léwu ni. Àwọn òwúrọ̀ ọ̀làjú ló fẹ́ ba àṣà àti ìṣe wa jẹ́. Ó yá ẹja lọ lé. Àdábẹ́mọ̀ o. Ìyá àgbà oníkì ń kọ́.
Iṣẹ́ òkèdè náà tẹ̀ náà wọlé sílẹ̀ fẹ́ sí pé bí dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin tí ò dá ni kí wọ́n lè pàtí kí lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àgbẹ̀dà fẹ́ já wọ́n sí ní. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa, dídábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin ò dára rárá, ó sì kún fún un. Bí ẹ bá mọ ẹnikẹ́ni tó ń gbèrò láti dábẹ́ fún ọmọbìnrin, ẹ lọ sọ fún àwọn agbófinró tó bá súnmọ́ yín tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè nọ́mbà 08124670069. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sọwọ́pọ̀ láti dẹ́kun ìdábẹ́ ọmọbìnrin.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti iléeṣẹ́ ACF Initiative pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn àjọ àgbáyé United Nations